Oh, baby.
Let's go.
A little drum line to start the show today?
Drum line.
Feel
Drum
it.
line.
Drum it up.
On a Tuesday. That's like a Friday vibe.
It really is the last day of the real off-season. Is this it? The on-season
Are we
starts
through
tomorrow.
the off-season?
What is, everybody? Welcome to the DNVR Nuggets Podcast.
Let's go.
Let's go. Live from the studio here at DNVR HQ, the location of tomorrow's first time watching Jokic play real basketball at the DNVR bar. Eurobasket begins 12 o'clock, and we are open for business.
You can watch Jokic play basketball here at the DNVR bar tomorrow.
We also have a new lunch menu, by the way. I don't know if you guys saw that.
I'm hyped.
Lunch menu.
First time this year.
This season.
Yeah. We've done that quite a
done it
lot
before.
at this place. But yes, I'm very excited to do this.
Well, you might have seen the video at the top. We have launched something a lot of you guys have been asking for, something I'm very excited about. Supporters Club. That's
Supporters
our YouTube
Club
membership. What is it? Well, it's kind of like a lot of you guys like to super chat. You guys see that? You like the super chat?
Yeah.
Supporters Club is another way for you guys to support us through the YouTube channel. And what it is for $5, you get access to a whole bunch of new custom emojis that you can throw into the chat, throw into the comments. D-Line is whipping those up daily. We'll probably have a new one to debut tomorrow for Eurobasket, a more Serbian-themed one. But it's just a cool way for you to support us. I know a lot of you guys are looking at it. You spend super chats anyway. This allows you to support us. And here's the coolest part. You see it in the chat already. There are people that have that little SC badge. You see it?
Yeah.
That tells you that they are a Supporters Club member.
Is that what that is?
That is what that is.
Oh, is there already a bunch of them?
There's already a bunch of them. And here's the other thing. If you get in today, the very first week that we have launched this, every month or for the first 3 months, that upgrades to a new color, a new badge. Mm-hmm. And then after 6 months, a year, and so on and so forth. So if you get in today, you can literally be a day oneer.
And I mean, I saw some people join up right at the top of the show. Great Dane,
Shout 'em
Supporters
out.
Club menu, Josh Clark, I see you. So a bunch of new supporter clubs members already, man.
And I noticed today there was a bit of dialogue I saw, I think it was on college football Twitter, about how the word sicko is being used too liberally by the normies.
So true.
But that's not what any of you are, respectfully. You are the real, true, like if you've watched the Denver Nuggets in the middle of the night on the internet from another country, or on the internet because they didn't broadcast in your city, you're a sicko. So you guys are the ones that really get to claim this title and get to own it and be proud of it. And we couldn't be more proud that you are the ones that have helped us get this far.
So you get access to the emoji at the $5 tier. If you want to be a super supporter, a Hall of Fame supporter, we do have a $15 option. What do you get there? We're going to be making experimental content on here because we argued about how we would handle this. A lot of YouTube channels do it. I said, I want our content to be our content. I don't want anything that you pay extra on YouTube. You get access to real content. So what we did we have behind the scenes vlogs and videos. Kale is going to get a blank canvas to make stuff once a month and throw it up.
Kale and I were actually just talking about what the next video we're going to drop is.
Wendy and I were already cooking up our idea for next week. Yeah.
I can't wait to find out what it is. And so what's cool about that, we'll also use it just to experiment. Like, hey, do people like this? Should we make more of it? And we'll also put polls and ask questions. So if you guys want to support us, we always appreciate it. That's the way to do it. Brennan Vogt, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you guys? I don't have nothing like no fun banter or anything. I'm just ready to go. Ready to be here. Ready for the game tomorrow. How about that?
Okay, let's go. So locked in.
Harrison Wynn.
Happy Taco Tuesday. I had Taco Bell today. That's my
again, huh?
fourth time eating it since last Tuesday.
That adds up, Harrison.
So Loving the Taco Bell partnership, though. Could not be more excited about it.
It is awesome. It is a great partnership.
It just gets dropped off here every Tuesday. It's amazing.
Dangerous.
Who was the first to drop? It was Christoph's is the first to drop all the Nuggets are good because we just dropped that one. So you get that distinction, the very first
the
Nuggets
emoji?
Yeah, I kind of like
haven't
it.
seen it. Let me look.
I'm doing well today, guys. I caught a mouse. Did I tell you guys about last week?
You got another one?
I got another one. There was a second one. I thought I was done, but now I'm done for sure.
You're a real hunter, dude.
I feel like
You're going to be providing for your family here soon enough.
I feel like it. Eurobasket is tomorrow. And we've talked a lot about what we want to see from Nikola Jokic and what we kind of we're kind of covering Team Serbia. You know, we're going to have Miroslav on tomorrow, all that jazz. But there's another Denver Nuggets player that is in Eurobasket we haven't talked about, and you posted some highlights the other day. Big Val and Team Lithuania.
Yeah. So I've actually watched a couple of these highlights of Team Lithuania. We haven't talked about them as much, but they're going to be not the favorite in Eurobasket because I think that's Serbia. But I think they're, competing for that next, tier. They're a good team. They're another team like Serbia that's played together a while. And Big Val is a central component. He's a key figure on this team. He's hit a couple threes in these warm-up games.
I love that, man. That might be number one thing I want to see.
And his shot looks pretty good.
Well, does it?
I think.
I'm saying.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty good.
It has like a weird shot to him. It's like a catapult.
It goes in,
It is
though.
a catapult.
It goes in.
Yeah. Yoke's a trebuchet. His is a catapult.
Yeah.
He's, operated in the paint a lot. He's coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. And
bonus,
defensively, he's looked pretty bad from at least my my read on
Don't
things.
tell Eric.
But no, I'm excited to watch Big Val too.
So, Vogt, you're locked into Serbia. And I was thinking about this. Am I locked into Lithuania? Are you locked into Lithuania now that we have Big Val?
Locked in might be strong, but I'm tapped in.
You're tapped in?
I'm tapped in. I do want to follow it.
Yeah.
I have been thinking about it. It's a good chance to get a look at an extended look at Jonas. I think besides sort of, what looks we get in the NBA season, which I think we look through things from a Nuggets perspective so much. I think sometimes with visiting players, do I really have my thumb on the pulse of how his last season of competitive basketball went? Not necessarily, right? I can look at the stats, but I didn't watch it the way I watched the Nuggets. I'm really excited to watch him play some basketball here in a team environment in 2025, see what juice he has left, see how excited he is to be there. And I'm rooting for him because he's a Nugget. Why not?
I mean, I am excited because there is we all know Big Val. We've seen him enough, but you don't really lock into a player's skill set. And really, we know what his skill set is, but where is he at in the arc? He is a bench guy. He's talked about himself.
It, yeah.
And so that's what I'm number one most excited to kind of see is just what does he have left in the tank? What does he look like? And I think when players play for their national team, and by the way, Serbia and Lithuania, though rivals in European basketball, tremendous respect for both basketball cultures. Those are two basketball nations.
Right.
Italy obviously goes back even further. France is coming on strong. Spain had an era. All these, there's other ones. Shouts to all of those different countries. But Lithuania and Serbia, to me, they have this rich history. And so I imagine it's similar to him as it is for Jokic, where this brings out a different version of him. Not wholly different from personality, but from a meaning standpoint. And so I'm kind of excited to see just where he's at as a player, what he's focusing on. You mentioned the three-point shooting. I wouldn't have guessed that. But maybe that's a piece of his game, like AG, that he's hey, I need to kind of get a little bit better at this.
Yeah, and he shot some threes last year. I think last year was really his first year trying it. He's not the most athletic guy, but he had a nice dunk in some highlights I was watching versus Iceland.
He can still throw it down.
He had a tip slam on an offensive rebound on another play. So, I mean, he can still do, whatever he was able to do athletically over the last couple of years. He's still at that level. Defensively is the one thing I'm most curious about, maybe, because I don't think he's been a great defender the last couple of years. He's a big body. He takes up space. Rebounding, I think, is an area where the Nuggets are just going to improve by having him on the floor.
I think it's underrated what a great rebounder he is.
But defensively, if there's one thing I'm nervous about, it's that.
Yeah.
How's he going to look defensively in space? He's not the quickest guy. He doesn't cover a ton of ground. Defending the pick and roll. Again, he's just playing off the bench, so it's not a huge deal. But how is he defensively? What's his conditioning like? I think those are the two biggest things I'll be focusing on.
Eurobasket doesn't have as many quick guards, although there are them out there, but the game is a little bit slower in most games. And then all of a sudden you get Dennis Schroeder and it's like, okay, now we're back to NBA speed. But I wonder, do you think we're going to get a good sense of that from Eurobasket? Or is NBA too different?
I mean, that's a really good point. That's a really good point. I think in that particular arena, this is one of those areas where you look at the NBA and go like, that is still this massive step up, right? I think from a basketball philosophy standpoint, there's been I think more accepting of like how good everyone else is around the world and what their contributions are to basketball culture and philosophy. But the athletic leap, like that's still the best crop of athletes playing basketball in the world in the NBA, right?
Right.
And so the sort of speed and agility and
spacing
and all that stuff, like I it's kind of funny because we say they don't play defense anymore in the NBA, and some nights they don't, but in a weird way, like the way like so much is demanded of a defender on every given night in the NBA right now, between the spacing and how fast and quick everyone is and how much can shoot. Like for a big guy, it's like that's a really, really hard position to be in right now. So no, I don't think it's a perfect look at that particular element of his game. But like you said, it's slower, and I think being bigger could be a bigger advantage right now, and it'd be cool to see him wield that to his advantage in this tournament.
I think somebody said it in the chat here, CS Chandler, seeing how excited he is to be there, and not necessarily that it would tell us anything about Denver. I've told people, I don't think Big Val didn't want to be in Denver. I think that he had personal reasons for wanting to be in Europe, but it wasn't not Denver, if that makes sense. And so, but I am interested to get a baseline, just like look at him, because I've heard nothing but great things about Big Val, the teammate, that he's like an elite teammate. Everybody on the team's going to love this guy, and he's a glue guy.
Yeah, I mean, his name's Big Val.
Big Val is a big character, looks like a Viking.
Probably gives great hugs.
But that's like something I'll also be dialed in, because as I keep prepping for the season and thinking about the team and all the different questions I have, who takes on some of those roles is one of the questions I have. I mean, we talk about the locker room was a little bit fragmented last year and just not, disconnected. I do wonder if it's like, hey, it's underrated that he's taking on the role we kind of thought DeAndre Jordan did, and probably did do in large part, but in a more meaningful way because he plays more.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to be a guy that's connected. We know that.
But does he bring connection? Which is another layer.
Right.
Like DJ would before every game, like get the second unit together for a little bench huddle while the starters are out there. Like little things like that.
I don't see Val doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm told that's who he is.
Oh, okay.
But just new, and to your point, Harrison, like brand new environment, and not to bring up a sore spot, but we already know like possibly had his eye on another destination and landing spot. Is he going to bring his like very best leadership hat to it? Like we'll find out. But I think they'll have it. Like they have Bruce now too. Like I think in the aggregate, you have enough veterans off the bench now where maybe you don't need a DeAndre Jordan grandfather type.
Yeah. We got a lot of leaders on this team, I feel like right now.
Yeah, but it's almost like, there's the joyful leaders. You know what I mean? Like you can have the guys that are pushing and this or that, but do you have somebody that kind of puts the arm around Peyton and says, hey man, it's fine. Keep your head up. You'll get back in.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe. And then the biggest thing for me, perhaps the last but the biggest thing is, do they play through him and how does he do there? Because he is a second unit player on now a Team Lithuania. Is he a guy they throw the ball to the block when they need buckets in that second unit?
So I think the answer is definitely yes. I think this is going to be crucial to the Big Val experience here. Can he be a focal point of the offense on the second unit? I think the Nuggets want him to be. I think when he's at his best, he is. Like that's when he's at his best, that's how he's being used as a scorer. And there was another play I saw in this Iceland game, not the best competition, but it was a decent game.
Svi Mikhailuk. He's Icelandish.
Yeah, he is.
That's a guy.
Wait, guy
that's a guy. Yeah.
Is he?
Svi Mikhailuk is Icelandic.
Okay. Yeah. But there was a play where they dumped the ball in the post to him. They doubled, and he kicked it out for an open three. That's another dynamic, too. The Nuggets have not had off the bench a post player that maybe could draw a double. Now, depending on who else is out on the floor with them, talking about Big Val with the Nuggets bench, defenses probably aren't going to look to double that much. But people respect him as a scorer in the paint. Like people know he can do that. So just having that in the back of defenses' minds that like this guy can get a bucket if we give him the ball in the post it's an element that the Nuggets have not had off their bench. They just haven't.
Well, I have one more question we'll get to on the other side, which is, do you think Big Val will be the type of guy who's into his career so much that he's like, this is who I am? Or do you think he'll take from Jokic and be like, you know what, now that I'm playing with him, let me learn from him and try and expand my game. We're going to go to break. But while we go to break, guys, if you want to join the Supporters Club, hit that join button that's right next to the subscribe button. You can sign up. You get access to the badge and the emojis. That helps us out, and we'll appreciate it.
Also, your username just looks way cooler when you have an emoji next to it like that. True. When you have that ability. Guys, check out Ent Credit Union, the official banking partner of the Denver Broncos. They got a Broncos checking account that's built for fans just like us. It's loaded with tons of different perks. No surprise fees, no minimum balance requirements. The money in your Broncos checking account also earns dividends. So you got that going as well. It's a great checking account. You can layer on all the other fan perks as well. You get 10% off food and gear on game days at Empower Field at Mile High. You get a Broncos branded debit card if you want to rep the team as well. So if you're ready to bank like a Bronco, ent.com/DNVR, ent.com/DNVR. Sign up for a Broncos checking account today. Ent Credit Union is insured by NCUA, membership required. Annual percentage yield account requires associated Ent Broncos debit card as well. Great checking account. You get tons of other awesome perks with it as well. Check it out. ent.com, ent.com/DNVR.
It's great. Although, depending on how well you've done for yourself, I don't know if that'll mean you'll be banking like a Bronco per se, but you know what I mean.
Listen. Banking like a practice squad Bronco?
Like a practice squad Bronco. There you go. Like a Broncos fan. Have you heard of Volo? You've probably seen the shirts out and about in town, the different colors. There's like yellow, there's green, they're bright. They're bright shirts. They're hard to miss. And they say Volo on them, and that's a group of people that got together to meet up and play some games. Sports offered includes soccer, volleyball, pickleball, kickball, basketball, cornhole, and many more. Oftentimes, those groups will wander to the nearest bar afterwards and some post-game activities. Playing with Volo, it's the best way to meet new people, make friends, be social, and also just stay or get more active. Get out, be a part of Denver, be outside in Denver, play in Lodo, Rhino, Highland, City Park, Cherry Creek, South Broadway, and more. Players can sign up as a free agent or a small group or a full team, and all ability levels and backgrounds are welcome to join. Use code DNVR10 for $10 off any Volo Denver League.
All right, we are back here, segment 2. Let's get into it now. The question I asked. Some guys come to Denver, a la Hartenstein, and he's like, all right, what's Jokic doing? I'm going to try this out. I'm going to learn from it and explore my game. Big Val's been in the league a long time. Do you think, but he has some of the Jokic skill. Adelman has said he's got the Jokic skills. Do you think this year we actually see him try to expand some passes?
Some playmaking, sure. I mean, I like in the form that Wynn kind of described earlier, right? I mean, this is a guy that I think his career high is 2.6 assists per game, which for a normal center that we're spoiled, it's not that. It's not horrible. I think he's a guy who could draw a double team and make a read. I think it's a guy who could keep the ball moving, right? Like if he's rolling and you find him and there's an open guy in the corner, I think he can make that pass sometimes. I don't think you're going to see point Val. I don't think you're going to see Jokic Val, you know, not to, I understand like to some extent, perhaps, you know, I don't know if that's a switch anyone's been holding on to that they can't just flip it at, you know, at age 33. It's a lot to ask, but more of the boogie stuff, right? Like, this is an offense that is used to the 5, keeping the ball moving and making plays, and Boogie could do that. And can Val do that to some extent?
What do you think the sauciest pass he's going to have? Like on a scale of 1 to 10,
I bet he has a saucy pass.
like an 8.
Yeah, I'd say like 8 or 9. He's not going to have a 10.
About to look up his best assists.
I bet it's going to be pretty good. I bet you're going to be surprised at how good of a passer he's been in the past. He's going to get the ball a lot at the elbow.
I think so.
I'll guarantee you that. I mean, because that's central to the Nuggets' actual offense, and that's a point where he's really good at. He can take people off the bounce from the elbow. He can drive the rim.
And he'll start some games.
Get to the line, and finish. He can pass out of there. I'm sure there's going to be a lot with like him at the elbow and guys cutting off of him and him feeding those. I think he can make those types of passes, like a bounce pass to a cutter through the lane.
Well, let's talk about Jokic and what we want to see from him. I mean, we've talked about this a lot. Well, fine, if we have to.
Fine.
I mean, I'm curious what we most want to see out of him. I'll tell you something we didn't see out of him that I'm curious to pay attention to. The 3-point shot. Didn't take a lot, didn't make a lot.
Yeah, like was this just a 1-year blip?
Could be. They needed it last year.
Right. I tend to think it probably was, but he might go back to taking more 3-pointers than he usually does, in past seasons this next season.
Yeah.
What do I want to see from Jokic, though? Just straight dominance. I mean, I just want to see a perfect game, especially in these group games where the competition isn't that great. I would just love to see him, 10 for 10, 0 turnovers, 10 assists. Like a perfect game would be ideal, I feel like.
Yeah.
I agree.
Perfection.
Not a ton of results, by the way, on that Google search.
All right.
I do think the threes could continue so I think in the aggregate, the Nuggets have more shooting, obviously. Like Tim Hardaway Jr. off the bench is a big addition. But their starters don't necessarily have more shooting, right? Like Cam and Mike, I think, are very similar in terms of volume. I know that Cam maybe stands deeper and the spacing could be better, and I believe that. But it's not like I think Christian Brown's going to come back and all of a sudden be like a shooter by nature. So
I think he'll probably be a little more willing than he was last year.
Right.
I think he'll take a little more threes.
Right. I'm just wondering, in terms of, okay, they were bottom of the barrel last year in terms of threes per game as a team. Like in the starters, does Jokic maybe still feel that same pressure of like who's our best bet to hit some? I'm probably up there.
Yeah.
I also want to see, does he get in shape throughout the course of this? Because this has been a big talking point, and there's obviously time before the season. I'm curious what his body looks like on Wednesday, tomorrow, and I'm curious what it looks like 2.5 weeks from now when the championship, should they be in it still, knock on wood, what it looks like if this is a lead up to a slimmer Jokic.
Yeah, ideally, I think it is. Ideally, he's getting in great shape throughout this tournament, and then a month from now when he's at training camp, he's in better shape, and then when the season starts, he's in great shape. I think that's the trajectory you're going for. And I think early on in these games, he's not going to be asked to play a ton of minutes, especially against Estonia.
Right.
How many minutes is he playing? 18, 20 minutes, ideally.
You'd like to think.
That probably should be a blowout. But then as the tournament progresses, when he's playing these tougher teams and then, you're ready for a gold medal game, he's going to be on the floor for most of that game.
Yeah.
So it's probably just going to be a progression throughout all Eurobasket and the remaining parts of the offseason.
Elephant in the room, sneaky one. And as far as conditioning, maybe we don't want them to win gold. That celebration could last a while.
The celebration
That's
was
actually
pretty epic.
true. I mean, there's celebration for bronze.
How many days off between the gold medal game and media day?
It's like 2 weeks.
All
It's
right,
like 2
the
weeks.
hangover should go away by then.
I think it should.
Unless
2 week
the
hangover
celebration lasts 2
Has there
weeks.
ever been such a thing?
Here's the next piece of this, which is, what do you guys think, if anything, a Eurobasket gold would mean for his legacy? And we could, first of all, kind of step through just to the average NBA audience. We can talk about what it means in Serbia, but to the average NBA audience, will it even register?
I don't know if it will actually at all to the average NBA audience, which is a shame, I think. I'm really glad we've incorporated it into the local coverage because this is a part of the Jokic story. And getting as close to it as we have, you can't tell the Jokic story without talking about this stuff or caring about this stuff. But I do not know if the average NBA fan is going to be like, man, he finally got that Serbia gold. This is a feather
I don't
in his
think
cap.
it's going to matter at all to the average NBA fan.
What about over time, if it becomes a part of his collection?
I think maybe once his career is all said and done, and you can say, oh, wow, he had 3 championships and then 3 gold medals for Serbia.
Like, it just added up.
Yeah,
total.
wow, that's a lot of trophies.
Right.
I think at that point, but
it might even in years to come as there's more international players. This is the thing that sometimes we judge people on things they weren't even chasing at the time, but it might get to Wemby, end of his career, and he's like, well, he had 3 championships, but he also had 2 silvers. And you know what I mean?
When you just look at the all-encompassing Joker trophy case, when it's all said and done, you're like, wait, what are those 6 trophies for? Or those 6 medals? Oh, that was 3, 2 Eurobasket golds and Olympics, and you're...
And to Adam's point, maybe more and more fan bases are going to the way we got familiar with how much this means to people through Jokic. I would imagine Dallas fans did as well with Luka and Slovenia, and Wemby fans. I know French has a proud history, as it were. Both of those nations did also, but just this modern NBA fan maybe being more in tune with the global thing, not locked in, Adam, but tapped in.
Tapped in for sure. Maybe it starts to tap them
just
in.
A little
gently.
tapping.
Here's my. Can we go to fantasy land here.
Yeah.
Brightest timeline type stuff. The Olympics are in 2028. There's this and there's a FIBA World Cup. I'd love Serbia to have momentum going into that. Can you imagine if Serbia wins this year, they get next summer off, then they make the qualify for the World Cup and get that, and we're leading into the Olympics.
Right.
And the question isn't about like, oh, well, USA's down now. Who are the guys? It's Serbia is on top. Can anybody knock Serbia off? And that's the momentum going into that.
Yeah, like Serbia is clearly the best team in the world, besides the U.S.
Right.
And here comes the potential
great.
rematch again.
The rematch element is honestly what would be carrying that, I feel like.
Yeah. I think the Serbia, though, aspect of this, his Serbian legacy would be huge.
What it would do for Serbian legacy is a whole different discussion.
It would mean so much.
And I know there's a little sort of general understanding that maybe the tournament isn't as competitive this year as it was last time out. Yeah. But I just don't think like in 10 years.
Is it because of Cyprus?
I don't know, Harrison. I think in 10 years though,
they're one of the weak teams.
I think you just look back and you see gold medal. You don't look back and you go gold medal in an asterisk year or something like that, you know?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's exactly how it would go. But I think it would be big for him, obviously, back home. And I think that's important to him because, you know, I said this the other day, but I think it would actually mean more to him than the NBA championship. And I know fans might find that kind of crazy, but it would mean a lot. And I think it would be a monkey off the back, and so to speak. Like you delivered something, just the same way that first champion. I mean, can you imagine if the Nuggets didn't win the championship? Like how we'd all feel just a little more edgy and tense. Yeah. I think it'd be similar for Team Serbia where it's like, all right, we got one with this group. Now let's get another.
That's a good point. Yeah. Just a sigh of relief that we got the gold finally. Because we were talking about this the other day. 2002, it's the last time they have a gold medal.
Yeah.
It's a long time, man. For a country that's so proud and so dedicated to the sport. For them to get another one, I think it'd be a huge sigh of relief.
And from the Serbian national fans' perspective of all your chances to get one, okay, well, here comes this 3-time MVP, best player on the planet. Like, we got to get one.
Yeah.
You know?
I got to ruin everyone's day. I saw a take on the timeline from somebody I like, Dragonfly Jones. You guys know him?
Oh, I saw this.
Big time Twitter.
I know, but I can imagine what the take was.
Dunking on Jokic, and he said, did we all not just see Alex Caruso lock him up in the playoffs just a few months ago? Like, that actually happened. Right. He locked him up, and he couldn't score on a tiny guy.
Yeah, just
in reference to why Jokic, I think it was against Jokic for Shaq, this or that.
Oh, yeah.
And I am so annoyed that this is the takeaway that some people have, because I actually haven't seen this surface, that was the takeaway they had, as if it was like a 5-on-5 matchup. Alex Caruso, you have Jokic. Everybody guard your guy.
Lock them up.
Everybody lock in your own individual
Handcuffs.
guy and see what happens. I like, it was the first time I saw it, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. And then all these people are like, yeah, that's right.
I think it was...
I'm getting fake mad.
No. I don't think
this is exactly what Dragonfly Jones wanted.
Engagement.
I don't even know if I don't think his heart was really in criticizing Jokic. You know what I mean? Like it's a
he was defending the superlatives that were
so
coming.
I did see the tweet, and if you read the tweet, it's like Caruso held Jokic to 5 points a game.
Yeah.
I think, look, well, I should probably let this be because it's a huge win for little guys, but...
Like, Jokic did have 2 40-point games in the series.
Like, actually, Caruso...
He did, but I do have to agree...
He had 44 and he had 42.
I do have to agree...
But he was locked up.
That with all the broader criticisms of officiating these days, one of the more specific ones that I think is real is just... Like, the funny thing about that comparison is, well, like... Shaq would have gotten a completely different whistle guarding Jokic than Caruso did. Because like what you have right now is this bizarre disparity of tiny guys guarding big guys and what they can get away with. That's not specific to Jokic. Wolves fans saw it with Caruso as well, by the way. And I think it's just one of the weird kind of imbalances that's worth checking out as an officiating.
The biggest thing to me is that nobody guards anybody one-on-one anymore. That's just not how the game is played. Caruso was not on an island against Jokic. Like, hey, go guard him.
No, he was. He locked them up.
You're on your own. There were 2 shooters on the Nuggets roster, one of which didn't have an arm.
Yeah.
And they were like, we don't have to guard anyone. So Caruso bother him like a fly, and we will sandwich him with every other member of our team. And he still is the only player that put up 30-point games against them.
Well, he had 2 40-point games.
2 40-point games.
The funny thing is about
a 42 and a 44.
That's what I mean, though.
Like, he was on some bad defense. He was on the best defense, and he was one of the guys off the bench.
That's kind of what I meant about how it was like a half-hearted critique at best. Like the real, like when the
locked them up
when the Western Conference Finals wrapped up, somehow the main takeaway online was like, Man, Jokic actually really is good. Like
Now,
I think
that was the takeaway.
I think most people get it. I think he just got a tweet
What's
off.
also so funny about that
fade
tweet
is my point.
Yeah.
What's also so funny about that tweet is he goes, "We all just watched."
Yeah, we
It's
all just watched.
Well, you obviously didn't watch it.
Obviously didn't.
If you actually watched, that wouldn't be your takeaway.
But that brings us to our next break and brings me to the question I want to get to on the other side. Does one more championship for Nikola Jokic, does some of this go away forever? A lot of it went away after one.
Yeah.
Does all of it go away after two?
Yeah.
Where does he go? Let's talk about it.
That's a good question.
Great question. Shout out to Volo. Volo, Denver's most popular provider of adult social sports leagues, pickup games, and events. They have leagues all over the city and leagues that play every sport. Soccer, volleyball, pickleball, kickball, basketball, cornhole, and many more. Playing Volo is a great way to meet new people, make friends, be social, stay or get active in a fun way, and mix up your after work routine. You can play in Lodo, Rhino, Highland City Park, Cherry Creek, South Broadway, and more. You sign up as a free agent, small group, or full team. All ability levels and backgrounds are welcome to join. You can use the code DNVR10 for $10 off any Volo Denver league. That's code DNVR10 for $10 off any Volo Denver league. Leagues all over the city. Lodo, Rhino, Highland City Park, Cherry Creek, South Broadway, and more. You can play any sport. Soccer, volleyball, pickleball, kickball, basketball, cornhole. Sign up with the code DNVR10 for $10 off.
And Raising Cane's wants you to know that if you're on a road trip, if you're heading out for a road trip, you can order at raisingcanes.com or on that Cane's mobile app. Satisfy your chicken fingers fix in a snap. At Raising Cane's, every chicken finger is hand battered and cooked to order. Every crinkle cut fry is crispy and perfectly salted. Every Texas toast is buttered to perfection, and every Cane's sauce is made in restaurant each day,
sauce.
just ready to be dipped in. Are you hungry yet? I am. Get your order today and at Cane's. Keep the road trip going. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
All right, we are back here. Segment 3. Let's get into our headline topic now. What would another championship do for Nikola Jokic? This is like the MVPs. When he won one, we're like, that was awesome. Then it's like, wait, he could win two? Not many guys win two. Then he got three. And it's like, wow, the number just keeps getting thinner and thinner. To me, two changes things. There's great players like Akeem Olajuwon with two. And you know what? You never hear Akeem slander. You never do. You never hear people say, well, yeah,
if
but
anything, he's always underrated.
Underrated
on all these
because
lists.
he was on Houston, like a little mid-market, didn't have this or that.
But
Houston, the third biggest city in the country.
But if you get four, by the way, if you
still a mid-market in the NBA.
Right. And then also, by the way, if you get four, you should have gotten six. Two might be the sweet spot, but I digress.
Oh, that's so true. Yeah.
You know
two,
what I mean?
like you could have got
get up to four. It's
he
like,
was
well,
right there. If he was a Laker,
you're not as good as Jordan. You're like, oh, dude, sorry.
Yeah, you're so right. After that, it's bad. Two, though, to me is honestly, it in weird ways does elevate you into this other tier of like, especially in a place like Denver. And part of me thinks that critique from LeJethro Jenkins, it was so half-hearted, whatever it is, so half-hearted.
Right.
But it really was still, there are people out there that are like, but. And you get two, and it's like, oh, really?
I think so. And I want to add this element to it as well. I think there's a chance that it might not take too long for this perspective change, that in the era of parity, two looks real good. Like, because you're looking around going, it's just been one and done so far.
Yeah.
And
like 10 years from now, two looks amazing.
Right. Like if we get to 2030 and we look back on the decade and we go, oh, like just this whole dynasty super team thing, like basically was like disallowed.
Right.
And this guy still managed to get a couple.
In Denver, where they hadn't even been close to that
in
ever
Denver,
before.
where they hadn't even been close to that. So I do think there's a little bit of, like right now, the idea of only getting one for a player as good as Jokic is scary, right? But I think there's a little bit of like, was anyone going to put like three together in a row in this decade? We'll find out. I mean, the decade's still young, but the way it's going so far, I wonder if one counts for more.
Yeah.
Later on.
I mean, I've maintained it's so much harder to win championships today than it was 10 years ago. Like, it is just crazy how difficult it is. If he wins two, he's above Akeem.
Yeah.
He's above Durant. You know, he's above all these guys with 2. You know who had 2 championships also is Wilt Chamberlain, who I think Jokic should be above if he gets 2.
And he's compared to the modern day Wilt.
Right. He's the modern day Wilt. And
Wilt never gets ranked. You know what I mean? Like Wilt is
he's just like, oh yeah, top 10.
Yeah. I mean, everybody is either he's first or top 10, but we don't know which.
He gets a special unranked spot in your top whatever.
I think Jokic might be like this a little bit, where it's like we don't know where he goes, but he could be the greatest.
This, man, we will talk about Jokic like we talk about Wilt Chamberlain 30 years from now, 40 years. Like that's how we'll talk about Jokic. Not us, just people in general. But he'll be above Wilt if he gets 2. He'll be above Hakeem, above Durant. Like I said, he'll be firmly in the top 10. I feel like
Durant got 2, and they were with an insane supporting cast.
I know, yeah.
And then like you still see Durant ranked ahead of him. You saw KG there earlier this year. They had KG ahead.
That
of him.
will no longer be a conversation.
KG was a guy on a team. He wasn't even the guy. He was a guy on a team that won 1.
Yeah, I think it'll greenlight some more for us. I would say truthful. For others, might say like kind of aggressive.
Oh, don't let Jokic get another one.
You know, no, I think it really might open the door to a bit. Like, I think right now everyone knows they're watching, like, really, like, how many guys have made it look easier than this, like, really, truly.
Yeah.
But he still just has the 1, and I think that is how some people feel about it. And I do think once he gets 2, like, you're going to be able to sit down at a bar and just go.
Totally, man.
Like,
and
top
I
10.
Mean,
and
the other thing is, like you said, it's definitely way harder. We're ever going to see a team win 3 championships in 5 years in this era.
Right.
I don't know. Nuggets could have done it.
Yeah,
they could have. It would have been really hard.
Thunder might still, right?
They could have done it, and the Thunder might do it. So
I also think there's something to it being a slightly different cast. I mean, Murray and AG are still there, but you're talking about Christian Brown and Cam Johnson. You know, it's a meaningful difference and departure. And then it feels like, there are some guys. I think you look back, and KD might even fall into this at one point, and you say, they could win. They were great, but you kind of had to have the right thing around it or something like that. Yeah. I do think there's something too. You swapped out KCP for Christian Brown, very different. Cam Johnson, Michael Porter, mostly similar, but again, Cam Johnson was there for anyone to take, nobody did. And so it gives you a different look of, hey, they won it with a whole new group. And then here's the best part about it. When you win 2, you start to look around and say, yeah, but they could have won this one and that one. And I think we'll look back and say, they lost in game 7s in the second round.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very costly. They had Murray out for 2 years. It's very possible, you flip a coin and one of those breaks the other way.
Yeah.
It almost counts as 2+.
We'll get Zach Lowe back here for the how many rings does he really have episode. Oh. Like the Celtics fans still claiming the year Kendrick got hurt.
Right. I think it does a lot for him, for him and his legacy, especially at this point in the career. There's still more years to go. I think Jokic's already solidified himself as the best player in the league. You don't really see that argued anymore. They haven't for quite a while. But if you catch a second one, you're still at the apex part of your prime. I think Jokic's been the best player in the NBA since 2021, and this would be 2026. You're like, that's a 5-year run. Not a lot of guys have a 5-year run and counting.
That's a run we haven't seen since LeBron.
Even Shaq was not that for 5 years. He was that for 3.
That's the thing. And then you can really turn around and go like, look, we like to think decades belong to a player, right? Or maybe 2 players or whatever. Like, at that point, you look and you go like it was a neck and neck race with Jokic and Giannis, and Jokic separated. And
well, also if you win it this year, the Thunder and SGA won't be able to win enough. It seems like to get this decade.
Maybe I think you're right. You start probably not. You start to run a little.
I think everyone would agree. Like before you even talked any kind of accolades or anything. Like if you just said like who's been the NBA player of this decade, I think most people would be like Jokic.
Yeah,
it'd be Jokic, and then some people would be like LeBron.
Well, you're already seeing it from players. Like you saw the clip with Dante DiVincenzo, and was it Tommy Alter trying to lead him into Giannis being the toughest?
It's always Tommy Alter
trying to lead him into Giannis being the toughest cover, and he's like, "Are you like no?" He's like, "Are you serious? It's Jokic."
Right.
You already see players kind of turn that way. If Jokic gets another one, don't give him one. He takes another one. There's a generation older than him, the KDs, the LeBrons. Those guys that I don't think ever wanted to give you credit, but there's the generation that's came about with him and is below him that I think will be the thing that turns them from he's one of these great players we have to go through to the way that players viewed LeBron for many years, which is that's the guy and we're all punching up at him.
I agree. And I think there are some guys who are kind of eager to really do this. And one of them that just popped up into my mind for some reason is Kevin Garnett. Like, I think if Jokic gets a second one, you're going to hear Kevin Garnett start saying some wild stuff about him, right? Like, there are some guys that are former players and stuff that are really enthusiastic about just how incredible this guy is. Yeah, I mean, if you get a second one, it goes from this really fun part of the parity era where Denver finally got there is to just, okay, this is everything everyone said it would be when it comes to this guy.
I think it's ridiculous that KD gets put in the same tier because I just think he's better than him. Kevin Garnett certainly.
Well, it's crazy KD's in that tier.
But here's the other thing is then you have guys like Dirk, who I have so much respect for Dirk and what he did, but I still think Jokic is greater. As a player, Dirk had that great run and came up in big moments, so it almost those things matter, but so did Jokic. But it's like, okay, I get it. One championship, different eras, whatever. To me, that becomes unassailable. And then even when I look at a guy like Hakeem, who was incredible, I still look at it and say, yeah, but you know what he never did? 30, 20, 20. That kind of assist, right. This kind of like as great as Hakeem was, there were still holes in different parts of his game. Even defensively, there were holes. The game wasn't quite pick and roll heavy yet, but he wasn't the most fleet of foot, in certain pick and roll actions that they didn't run too much of. But nonetheless, my point is, Jokic to me would have the resume of Hakeem, plus more MVPs. And I just think he would start to look at those guys who are considered top 10 and say, you know what? I think one more title would put Jokic firmly in the top 10 players of all time. That was a hot take George Karl threw out 3 years ago on the Keeping It 1000 podcast.
Right.
I think that would become what has happened already with Jokic being the best player in the NBA. I think it would just become the standard take. And if you were against that, you were on the outs.
I think people will dip their toes in the water of that take first and we're kind of there. Like not just people like us, but the average, hardcore NBA watcher. Best offensive player of all time.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Like there's always going to be a hang up, I think, on what we would really like to say.
But it's at least not a crazy thought to throw out.
If he gets another one, I think you start. I mean, it's because at some point you have to acknowledge part of the reason numbers and stuff are so inflated offensively right now is just offensive innovation is just off the charts. You have 7-footers that can hit threes and make passes point guards used to make. And so it's not all just gamesmanship and free throw numbers. Like at some point we should acknowledge, we're probably looking at, the best offensive players we've seen to date on average, right?
And I wonder if the regular season MVPs all of a sudden start meaning more once he gets 2 championships.
Oh, for sure they will. No
because
question.
Then you're like, all right, he's finally got 2 championships and he had 4 MVPs in 6 seasons once he wins another one this year.
That's because I don't think an MVP does much for his case. I really don't. That's why I've said this before, but 3 versus 4, it only matters if you stack championships behind it.
Right. It does until you start comparing him to the people he's next to on those lists. Do you know how many MVPs Hakeem had? One.
Yeah, I was gonna say 1 MVP.
If Jokic has 3 or 4 on top of 2 championships,
well, he's got 3.
Yeah, if he wins a 4th on top of a 2nd championship,
then I think it matters a little bit. But my point right now is that Jokic, everybody, he's in the LeBron tier where it's like, how many does he have? Because he deserved 8, but he has enough. And to me, it's just the only thing that matters now are these championships. And I'm just so hopeful they'll get them because I'm telling you, man, I like thinking about the Nuggets. And there is still time when I'm just idly thinking about the Nuggets or researching for something we're putting together for the season preview where I'm just like, I believe in him more as time goes on. I'm like, no, this makes sense too. No, this makes sense. And I'm not usually like that. You guys know I'm probably the most gun shy, I would say, on the panel. Just, I'm always cautiously optimistic, but kind of cynical almost in a way. I'm waiting for the shoe to drop. And the more I think on this team, the more I'm like, I just think they have it, man. And I think a championship would make a big difference. Let us know in the comments what you guys think. What difference would it make for Jokic to get a 2nd championship? How does his legacy change? How does his living modern day conversation and narrative change around him? Last topic I have for you guys. We've talked about this a little bit, but we've never really dove in deep on it. And that is, how is Adelman different than Malone? And I think that one of the reasons we haven't is because we saw it in real time, we experienced it. But as we get away from that, it does feel like that was a different task than the one he's going to have now.
Sure.
And I just want to start off the top by saying, if you had to put the one thing that's different, what would it be that's different about David Adelman versus Michael Malone?
Man, that is a great question.
I think it's just his overall outlook on the regular season, maybe.
Maybe. I hope. I don't know if that's true.
I wonder if it'll be the developmental minutes. But then that whole thing changed, right? That was almost the way you looked at this team before their offseason happened. Now it doesn't matter.
Now
they signed a bunch of playable guys. So it's kind of
Although I can't wait to be mad about Jalen Pickett not playing. I can't wait.
I'm most hopeful that you see a difference in bench identity that's not just they sign new guys.
Right.
Like I'm most hopeful it manifests in sort of like actually coaching that offense and not just kind of trusting that 82 games later your offense will be great because 15 was out there.
Yeah. I actually wonder if the Toyota chat hit it right there. Like player input, and he lets the team talk more.
Yeah?
Yeah. 100%. I
Malone,
yeah.
Malone, I'm not going to say he was anti-player input, but I think Adelman approaches it in a way where like he'll actually implement that stuff that the players are wanting him to.
100% of players said that when asked about the change.
More collaborative.
100% of them said that. Yeah.
I think more collaborative
We feel
is
more a part of the process.
Yeah.
I think both of these things are probably a part of it. I'll tell you where I think, and I've really been thinking about this, where I think the biggest difference will be felt. I think Adelman has a chance to really cultivate connection through precision. And I don't know if this was a Malone thing. I think Malone, it was disciplined, it was these types of things. Adelman to me seems like a guy, and he's talked about this a lot. What's going to be different about next year? It's not a different system, but the details. We're going to be more focused on the details. And why do details and precision matter? Subtle differences. I was thinking about the game. The game basketball, what I like about it is it feels like it's expanding. It's always expanding. But the truth is it's only expanding slightly. What's really expanding is our ability to get more granular into the subtleties of it. The game doesn't change that much, but you can put a finer lens on it under a microscope and find these subtle things that actually make that pay dividends. And I think for Adelman, when he says details are going to matter in our system, and that's what's going to change, to me, I'm like, that builds trust.
Right.
Because when everybody understands the details and is held to account on the details and performs repeatedly the details, that's where a team starts to trust. You don't trust guy makes or miss. You trust that, hey, whatever happens, we're going to nail all the details every night.
And so you got to think about that from the perspective of a guy like Jokic, who's a perfectionist and who's more detail oriented than maybe anybody else on the team.
He doesn't need a magnifying glass. He sees it with his natural eyes. He sees the details.
Getting everybody on that wavelength.
He said he was asked explicitly about like the differences, I think, of some of the walkthroughs and practices they had done in the playoffs to that point. And Jokic's answer was details. Is more detail oriented.
Yep.
And I think the trust part of this is big because I don't think the team trusted each other last year for a variety of reasons. But I do wonder if that's an underrated. Like we always think about trust as in like, were they willing to call each other out? Did somebody step up in the huddle and yell and do this? But I think it's more about what's needed and every little detail and every line. You've dotted your I's, you crossed your T's. So there's trust about whether we do it or not is make or miss league, but we know exactly on the most granular level what is required of us. And that breeds a type of trust that even when guys are unhappy with minutes and things happen that flare up, you still have something to rely on, which is we are a details-oriented team.
I felt that way about the Warriors at the peak of their powers really as much as anything. I mean, they did have so much freestyle and firepower, but
it was precise and it was chaos.
Yes, and they were just the way that everyone kind of seemed to be on the same page about what not only what the possibilities were, but what the preferences were, and like what it meant to, like the base layer of it is just like, okay, if Steph gives the ball to you, that doesn't mean you stop looking at Steph, right? Mm-hmm. That's just the first layer of this, but everyone seemed to get it. And those three guys playing together. And then you would end up in these moments where you'd go like rooting for the opposing team. You go, how does Klay Thompson get open? How does Klay Thompson get open? And you're like, it's actually not an accident, right? Like these guys were so detail oriented and knew what they wanted to do. And in 2023, that's exactly what the Denver Nuggets were.
Especially in the playoffs. Like they had it in little bits in different parts, but the playoffs, everything felt like it was executed with precision. And then you think about, okay, well, what does he have to work with this year? Now, this is where I think an underrated thing as I step back from everything, Ben Tenzer, when he was interim GM, before he was made, what is his title?
Executive
Vice President of Operations.
Basketball operations.
When he was interim GM, he said, we really worked together
Did
well.
He get a demotion?
He got demoted.
Interim GM to executive vice president.
When that happened, though, he talked about we've had great conversations, and it was who's we. He's like, well, David Adelman. And I just wonder if David Adelman's like, this is what we need to be next year, precise. The details matter. And who did they make the big trade of? Michael Porter, for all we love him, was probably the least detail-oriented guy in the group.
Definitely.
And who did they bring in? Cam Johnson, who sits on the old man of the three and talks for 30 minutes about the micro details of his footwork and his spacing. And so this is why I say Adelman, I think, has real weaknesses that could get exposed. I mean, probably does. We haven't seen enough of him to know, but any rookie coach probably doesn't know how to handle every headache that's thrown your way. But what I think he can rely on is precision. And what I think his roster is built for is precision.
Listening to Cam Johnson talk about shooting mechanics with JJ Redick.
Yeah.
I'm just like dying watching those clips, man.
There's a little faux heaviness to him, though, you know?
It is a little bit like, wait, do you need to say all these big words when describing a shot breakdown?
It's so true.
Is it? He definitely knows it sounds awesome.
Yeah.
But it does sound incredible, man. It's like two just like engineers talking about like how to build something.
Yeah.
Cam Johnson and JJ Redick talking about the mechanics of their jump shots. It's like porn, man. It's insane.
There is a performative nature to it that I think we're kind of giggling at. But here's the thing. I think it's more accentuation. Because I think he actually does think and feel all those things.
A million percent. That's a representation of his approach to basketball.
Correct.
Absolutely. And I actually really, really, and you know I don't compliment you anymore. I really liked your lead in on this.
Appreciate that, man.
Because I thought that's the exact way to frame that swap. Like before you address anything else,
right? Attention
to detail. It's like you go from a minus to a plus, and that's huge.
I think that's going to be the biggest difference for him. And here's an interesting thing I thought about, because there's certain things you're drawn to just by your personality and your nature, like certain things you like more. And I have this belief, I've told this story before, but when I got done with high school, very good player, I felt like I knew 80% of the game, was excited to go to college. First year of college, I realized I knew nothing about the game,
right? And
it expanded, and it was exciting to me. And it was humbling, but it was also exciting. And then when I graduated college, had a good career, I was like, now I know the game 80%. And I started covering the NBA, and I was like, damn, I don't know anything again. Like, it just keeps expanding. This is my belief about basketball. Not that it is this, we can make it overly complex. I actually think it's a simple game. It's not that you can zoom out, it's that you can zoom in. And to me, if David Adelman fails, I think it would feel in some part almost like a breaking of that belief. You know, like I might have to step back and re-examine, because it is the one thing that I believe about him, is that that's how he sees the game. He zooms into it and sees every cell.
Right.
And if it fails, it's like, well, maybe that's not as important as something that I would almost consider more base and dumb.
Oh, like David Adelman could probably be on that panel with Redick and Cam Johnson.
I don't think he has any performance in him, though, so it might be more boring.
As we've talked about, his delivery needs some work.
Yeah.
But he can think on that level, too.
Yeah, 100%. And it's interesting because in a general sense, we have kind of talked about NBA coaches in the last 7 years together as guys who maybe like, you'd be surprised at how much of the gig is actually the stuff that you take a step back and it's broad strokes, right? And so I am interested, and this is not in any way a critique, literally just interested in how this works out for Adelman, where like he is detail oriented. Is there an ironic thing about how his responsibilities change, assuming the higher job? And flowing from that thought, did that inform kind of some of the hires they made from there, Dudley and Barea?
Right.
And just in terms of like, well, maybe you guys can sort of handle more of the player management, ego management stuff, and David can be on the whiteboard.
Yeah, and I think that might be it. When we look at other things, though, here's one thing I'm interested in. When David Adelman got the interim job, I thought he did a great job. His very first game, he benches Russell Westbrook. Very next game, he closes with Russell Westbrook. Right. It was like the signal of, I don't have any agendas. And I'm just going to, I think, knew the only way he could earn that job, and maybe the odds were against him at that time, was to go far.
Yep. Sure.
It wasn't about like, did people like me, this or that? It was, did we go far enough to give the team confidence that they can trust me? And so with that, there were no games. But now that it's not like he has the greatest job security, he's a rookie head coach. He has to now prove himself. And I do wonder how he navigates that. Does he stay true to that? How hard is it to stay true to that philosophy when you're not on the short runway, you're on a longer one? And how does he navigate it? Is he a person that reads when a guy needs, you know what, Christian, take the night off. I need to start Julian to keep him engaged. Does he even read those things, or is he completely nose blind?
Yeah, all those questions are going to be fascinating to find out, because we really just don't know much about his coaching philosophy still. We really just don't. And here's a question. I just kind of thought of this when you were introing that. Do you think that David Adelman gets the job if they lose to the Clippers?
Man, I don't know. I kind of doubt it.
Yeah.
Really?
It just depends on
because
how
I'm gonna say yes. But I don't know either for sure.
I don't know if he does. And that sounds so dreadfully consequentialist, you know? Because like
I'm going to say yes because I just think they thought he was the guy, especially with a lot of the same team returning.
But it's hard. Like, think about the optics of them hiring Tenzer and Adelman. It's like so tough, even with the support of players. It still looked weird. And if you lose in the first round, I mean, the talking heads have a field day with that because talking heads want their takes handed to them. That one is handed to you.
Yeah.
Lost in the first round and they want to hire the guy. Do they even care?
I would have felt inclined to like, you can't just like not acknowledge that part of the optics. You just can't.
Yeah. This is why sports rule because it literally was AG's fingertips.
Yeah, 100%.
Probably nothing Adelman did.
Yeah,
totally.
That was the difference.
Totally.
Of course he's the guy.
That's why it's a great question from Harrison.
Yeah. But I mean, we're going to learn so much about him. It's honestly the thing this season that it has the biggest question mark by it. What are his philosophies? Does he, maybe he's more like Malone than we think. That'd be a disappointment, but maybe that's the case.
When Adam was asking that question, I thought about that as well, which is kind of part of what you were asking. Like that's now once you have the job, do those agendas kind of start to develop over time unconsciously?
Right.
Do you do you kind of care more or less about the player relationships over time? Like, these are all things that I think are different when you have the full gig versus a cleanup job.
It's going to be fascinating, man. The first game where the bench is really bad. Like, what if the bench is really bad opening night?
Yeah.
Is Jokic at the scorer's table with 9 minutes left in the second quarter?
Right.
Taking the wrap off his back. And
he's got that look on his face. Okay.
Game one, David. Do you want to win this game or not, David?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm excited for tomorrow. I would say my excitement is more like a 7 for tomorrow. I'm excited to watch Jokic play. I'm excited to watch Team Serbia play. It is not the toughest game.
Hey, man.
It's like we have to ramp up, but I'm still excited. I'm still very excited.
We're doing a watch along.
Yes.
We'll be right here in this studio watching the game. Serbia, Estonia. I'm going to be hyped. I know that. I can't wait.
You're going to want to join us. You're also going to want to become a supporters club member. And Kale, I see that we got a couple. Let's call them out. The boy's dad. Are you coming by? Boy's dad. Are you coming by the bar tomorrow? By the way, for lunch, you told me you would probably be here for a couple ones, but welcome. Thank you so much for the support. We appreciate it. Hail Norman also hopped in. We appreciate it. We got Shrek.
Forchi, our guy.
Shrek also hopped in. And then, of course, a whole bunch of others who were there before.
Tommy Zavaliovic.
That's right.
Yep.
Tommy was one of the first, very, very, very first ones. He was watching the Bronco show the other day when he hopped in.
The Great Dane, Bad Moon. Shout out, guys. Shout out
all you guys. We appreciate it. Like I said, it's like a super chat. We appreciate it. And we're going to add more and more emojis. Today we unlocked the All the Nuggets Are Good one. What will we unlock tomorrow?
I want to make the 3-finger salute. I think that's what we need.
I'm kind of surprised they said that because I'm kind of into it, you know?
Yeah.
All right. What do we have? Super chats.
Ghostly Gengar. We need to know all your guys' predictions on the only stat that truly matters. Will the Nuggets make the 40-20 rule this year? Yes.
I think so too. I just think they're good, so I think they're going to do it.
I also look forward to someone snapping that so we don't have to do it every year. Josh Barnett.
The first time it snaps, it's just gone forever.
They do have that tough middle of the stretch, you know, but I still think they're going to get it.
January is tough.
Yeah. January is tough, which I picked for it to be their most winning month, which is insane.
Oh,
and I already regret that. Josh Barnett from Down Under. Good luck to all my Serbian mates. LFG, flag.
Good luck.
What's up, Josh?
Eat 'em home.
Nash, Sweden, off to Riga to tomorrow watch Serbia.
Oh, let's go,
guys.
Nash,
Dude,
Sweden.
Can you imagine being there?
That
Dude,
sounds
you
so
maybe
dope.
you can be our reporter on the ground there since Miroslav couldn't make the trip.
Also, I think if you see like the Nuggets front office, I think at some point they're going to be there if they haven't been there
a lot
already.
of people are saying they're there right now.
They're there right now.
There you go, man. Yep. By the way, reminder, we are going to San Diego for training camp, and we are looking for things to do. So if you're in San Diego and want to show us around,
yachts.
DM us on Nuggets. You can email us at info@thednvr.com. Let us know. We want to do some fun stuff. We'll be doing it while we're out there. Everybody,
Jazz Flute Club.
hit that like on
Maybe
the way
a
out.
yacht, specifically yachts.
man.